Hello! It's another car journey one. We're on another crafting road trip today. So I am on my way to Ricky's house. I've already talked about this a couple of times, but we're going to do our botanical dyeing workshop today, and I'm going to take you along for the ride. I'm just about to leave Bristol. It's 8:20 on a Saturday morning, which feels ridiculously early. I just have to keep reminding myself I'm normally up for about 3 hours by now. I will see you when I'm at Ricky's house. We are on our way to the eco-printing workshop at the Prema Arts Centre, which Ricky booked for my birthday. Thank you, Ricky.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. And I thought it'd be quite cool to say what we thought eco-printing was before we went. So I think it's basically where you're going to use an eco thing. So we're going to go forage leaves and petals and things, and then put it onto fabric and squeeze the dye out to print the shape of the thing onto the fabric. What do you think it is, Ricky?
So I think for me it's pretty much the same. I have been doing a little bit of scouting, looking at Babs's website. She's a botanical dyer. She recently did quite an exciting project about creating a fabric that is truly Bristolian, which I don't know what that means.
No.
But so yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's possible. We did see when we went to the Stitching, Sewing and Hobbycraft Festival, we saw some cotton and silk that was dyed with rust. So I'm imagining something very similar. I'm assuming it just takes the right colour, is that right? Hopefully.
I'll be interested to know, because the day that I did at the Avon Guild of Spinners, Weavers, Dyers, which they did a talk on botanical dyeing, and she was saying things like you've got to soak the silk for 2 days to make sure it's properly wet, because we're dyeing with silk today, and then also like talking about all the different mordants and stuff like that. So I'm really interested to see what we're going to come away with, because I feel like 4 hours, which I think is what we've got to actually do the dyeing, or maybe less than that. I feel like that's not really loads of time. So it'll be really, really interesting to just see how the timing of it all works out, because in my head it takes years. I don't know how much we're going to be able to film though. She might not be very happy about giving away the secret sauce. So
we'll tell you later.
Yeah.
It looks like we're just about here.
We are currently foraging for plants. What are you getting, Ricky?
Oh, I have this Bodleian. I don't know, but I was just talking to Babs and she was saying that you should go for sort of things that look dead, because it's more indicative of the colour that you're going to get.
Oh wow! I'm just taking a sneaky moment to film while nobody else is in here. So this is the room that we're dyeing in, and we've all gone out and foraged and picked our plants and then laid them out to take photos of them, because one of the things that Babs says you should always do is make sure that you document what you're doing. So here we go, I am following through. That's Ricky's over there with a couple of nettle leaves that I picked for him. This is gorgeous. I feel like I've picked a much more boring selection of stuff than everybody. So that's my little bundle there. She says you only need a handful, but it's quite hard to stop yourself once you start picking. And then we've got this big room up here. We're going to steam everything for about an hour and turn it every 15 minutes. It's called bundle dyeing. Oh, and there's the silk already soaking. She brought some stuff as well. In fact, I'm going to pick a bit of this fern, because she says that fern is really, really good. And then here is the waste. You can reuse it. So this is from a previous session. And this place that we're in is amazing. I'll talk about it a bit more later. We are back from the workshop. It's been quite a long day.
It has.
We're both quite tired, despite the fact that we've done almost nothing in terms of exercise and activity.
There was the walk in the meadow.
Yes, so we did a little walk in the meadow, and then we went back to this amazing space. So it's an old chapel. They've converted it into like an art centre, and they've got 4 artists in residence. And then we went into the back where there was this little workshop room and did some dyeing. We learned a bit about some of the plants that we picked, and we spent some time identifying what we had, and then we watched the teacher, Babs, lay them out on her piece of silk and she showed us the process. And then we all did the same thing.
I was just thinking it was really helpful. We had a gardener who just happened to be on the course, which was really helpful because she could identify a lot of the different plants.
There wasn't really any rhyme or reason to the way that we did things. It was mostly just we did it because we felt like it was what needed to be done.
I started thinking that I was applying some sort of rhyme and reason as I was laying out, but it maybe wasn't the case because you don't really have that much control. It's a very sort of kind of just suck it and see. Once you roll it up and you put it in and it does all the steaming, it pushes through all of the layers, and then you kind of get what you're given, which is kind of nice.
And the colours don't marry up with what you think you're going to get either. Like, I'm just looking at this now and I've got a lot of purple on here in bits where I didn't have any purple flowers.
Yeah, it was interesting. I laid down a lot more colours than I thought I was going to, but it didn't come out too bright. A lot of the colours in mine have come from rose petals and possibly a wood powder. What was the wood? Brazil
logwood and Brazil wood.
So,
did you use any of the logwood?
I don't think I did, but I think I used some safflower as well, which is probably some of the yellow in here.
Yeah.
It was interesting to unveil, and really interesting to see how everybody had laid out differently, and how they all turned out. So
and the effect as well, because some people like put down loads of rose petals thinking they'd get pink, and then one came out sort of grey green. It was stunning, but she was quite. It wasn't what she had expected. She wanted something with more pinks in it because she put a lot of pinks on it.
Yeah, but it was laid out in a very methodical approach. So it was kind of, it was almost laid out in a grid pattern. And I suggested at the beginning it was very much William Morris, and then at the end somebody said that it looked like it had come out of Liberty. So it was great. It was really beautiful. They were all really beautiful.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we haven't quite realised yet is they're going to continue developing. So although we've taken them out of the dye pot and we have them here, these are both still damp and we are now supposed to go and hang them in a dark place for at least 2 weeks, and the colour will still develop while that's going on. Okay,
so talking you through my piece, I laid down quite a lot of big chunky leaves, which some of them took. Some of them provided almost like a leaf imprint. You can almost see bits of skeleton. But then other parts over here, it almost created like a resist. So it stopped the dye coming through on any part of it, which was interesting. There is a bit of a pattern to it because there was a fold somewhere along here. I'd say it was about here, where you can kind of see that the pattern then duplicates across. Pretty happy with it. I think my favourite part is probably, I don't remember what the leaf was, but there's a really great leaf pattern at this end and at the other end. There's a lot more pink than I would have liked. It's a bit feminine, but once it's cured differently, I guess we'll see.
I expect the pinks will also fade because they're the petals.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you're learning when you do colour fast dyeing is not to use petals.
Because they don't give out that colour. Yeah.
And one of the other interesting things that Babs was saying is that a lot of these colours will fade, and then a really cool thing is to over dye it, and you can keep on recycling it by dyeing more and more and more and more as time goes on.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think I'd really like to have a go at different things. I'm really keen to see, there are a lot of tannic leaves that really, like oak leaves, that really had a difference.
Yeah. And then this is mine. I don't really like regularity, which I'm sure comes as a surprise to nobody. So I tried to go for more random things. And I think I was fairly successful in that. I don't think you can tell where my fold was. Well, maybe you can, maybe that was it.
I think what's good about yours is that you've got this vertical pattern that happens along here.
So then
it takes away from that.
Yeah, when you tie it up, you use string, and I used my string, I tied it really tightly, so you get that there. Anyway, what I did is I threw a load of petals down. I'll make sure that there are photos of mine and Ricky's before they went into the dye bath with the petals and things. So I threw down a ton of petals, and then I placed my leaves in the bits where the petals hadn't landed, so I got some pretty good prints.
Yeah, that's a great one, yeah.
And then there was one more somewhere, I can't remember where. I feel like we're going to be finding things in these for years to come.
Probably.
Yeah, that one there was really good.
That's good because it's got almost like sort of painted colour into it.
Yeah, and I made sure to put the stem in as well. And then I laid like bits of stalk down as well because I wanted to get sort of the fact that it is an organic material in it. And there were a few things that I wanted to be able to identify. I don't know if you will be able to though. Like there were sycamore seeds, which I had a violin that was made out of sycamore. Oh, there. So that there was the...
Oh, yeah.
I laid petals all down the edges because I wanted to make sure that the edges got dyed as well. It was more successful in some places than others.
It's interesting because, like I was saying before, you don't really have any control over it.
No.
You just kind of think, well, that might look good.
Yeah. Okay, so what are you going to do with your bit of silk?
I think I'm going to, if I can manage to tidy it up, keep the raw edge because I kind of like the organic nature of it, knowing that it's come from nature.
Yeah.
And that it is just silk, and then I will wear it probably as a scarf.
Yeah.
I think just one that doesn't smell like kombucha vinegar.
Yeah, what we can't tell you right now is how these smell. Like, you spray them with vinegar to get the dye going, and then once you've steamed all the stuff, if you can imagine what your steamed vegetable pot smells like after you've taken it out and the water's cooled.
Yeah, that's a good way of summing it up.
Very strong vinegar. I will finish my edges because I don't like the way that silk tends to catch on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you get threads, and then I'll use mine as a scarf as well.
Will you hand sew that raw edge?
Yeah, I will. I don't trust my sewing machine.
I don't think. Would that require a satin foot?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Quite a fresh
if I do finish mine, maybe I will hand stitch it as well.
We hope you've enjoyed this and found it informative. We haven't talked too much about the process because obviously we don't want to give away what our teacher has taught us because that's how she makes her living. But yeah, it was a really good day, and I'll put details to the centre and also to Babs so that if you're ever in this area, or I think she travels to London quite a lot and to other parts of the UK, and you'd like to experience the same workshop, then you will be able to do that.